First of all, before I get started, I would like to start my review with yes, 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 yes. And why am I doing that? Because the opening segment starts off with the World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan, along with his girlfriend AJ. And basically, what they're talking about, well, Bryan says he can talk about himself all night, but he decides to put AJ on the spot and asks her how it feels like for her to be in love with the World Heavyweight Champion. And she sums it up in one word. It's heaven. Ah. And basically what she does, she extols all his about all his virtues, saying that he's strong, he's courageous, he's this, he's that, he's the other thing. But one thing that she does mention, that he is a great lover. Aw, isn't that sweet? But anyway, after that, Sheamus comes out and says, he starts calling him Danny Boy. My name is Daniel. But more or less what he says is that if you don't like being called Danny Boy, well, you're gonna like this even worse because after Sunday you're gonna be called a former World Heavyweight Champion. And he also says he's gonna kick his teeth down his throat. Well, it was a decent opening segment. I mean, yeah, you start off with your World Heavyweight Champion, and it all ties into WrestleMania, so that is good. Okay, before I get into the R-Truth Mark Henry match, there's a special guest back ringside before they went to the commercial, and his name is Abraham Washington. Fuck the world, baby! Abe Washington on Smackdown. Yes, yes. Oh, that's Daniel Bryan, but you get the drift of what I'm saying here. But anyway, about the match itself, not much to really talk about. Yes, it's a member of Team Teddy against a member of Team Johnny, and it ties into WrestleMania like it should now because we're only about a week away now. But Henry is basically dominant in this match. Mark motherfucking Henry for the win. Then also on SmackDown they showed the last member of the WWE Hall of Fame class for 2012 is the late Yokozuna. Yes, and I think it's a well-deserved honor. I mean, yes, he's been gone from us for the last 12 years, but when he first came in the WWE, WWF as it was known at the time, he was probably one of the best big men in wrestling, probably in the history of wrestling. I mean, because he did a lot of things that a 500+ pound man shouldn't be able to do, but he was able to pull them off really nice. But anyway, I thought that was a good thing for Yokozuna to be inducted in the Hall of Fame because I think he richly deserved it. Okay, next they showed a recap of Monday Night Raw with Zack Ryder in the parking lot talking to the fans because he's lobbying to get onto Team Teddy. Well, if they're gonna do this with Zack Ryder, why couldn't they have done this with Ted DiBiase with the DiBiase posse and the tailgating and all that stuff? I'm just saying. But anyway, this led into a backstage segment along with Teddy Long, the Great Khali, Oksana, and Hornswoggle. So basically, what you have is you got two new members of Team Teddy. You have Zack Ryder and the Great Khali, and Hornswoggle is their mascot. Ooh. Okay, next you have a Random Divas match between AJ and one half of the Bella Sluts, Brie. Before the match started, they showed an old school promo like you would used to see on the old WWF Superstars, or they're just talking, but both the Bella Sluts were talking, and then this kind if they wanted to go with this, they could make this another storyline that's reality based, kind of like what you had about 8 years ago with Edge and Matt Hardy, because that was based in reality, because Matt Hardy and Lita used to be boyfriend girlfriend, and Edge actually was dating her at the time, so you had that thing going on, but anyway, what you have here is you have Daniel Bryan's on-screen girlfriend AJ against Daniel Bryan's real-life girlfriend Brie Bella. Well, as most Diva matches are on television, it was really short. AJ got the win, but to me it seemed like Daniel Bryan last couple of weeks AJ took on the other Bella slut the week before on Smackdown, and she won that match. But Daniel Bryan seems to be taking a lot of credit for AJ winning these last couple of weeks, so be interested to see what goes from there, especially after Sunday. Next. Excuse me! I'd like to introduce to you my client and Sylvester the Cat's. I said excuse me! My client and Sylvester the Cat's favorite wrestler, the All-American Jack Swagger. And he's taking on Zack Ryder with Hornswoggle in his corner. Well, yes, this is another Team Johnny versus Team Teddy matchup. As earlier in the night, Zack Ryder was just announced on being on Teddy Long's team. But two thoughts about this match. Number one, nice haircut, Jack. What'd you do? Get a $5 haircut at Supercuts? And another thing, it looks like you combed your hair with a pork chop. I'm just saying. And as far as Zack Ryder goes, God, what wasn't he still in a back brace like 2 weeks ago? Nice recovery from a broken back there, Zach. I'm just saying here. But anyway, the match didn't last that long. Ryder won clean with the Rough Rider. Ooh, nice. But that's about all I know about this match. Next. Then you had a backstage segment with Cody Rhodes talking about the Big Show, his opponent at WrestleMania. He's talking about how many embarrassments he's had at WrestleMania, whether it be losing to Aki Bono in that sumo match, or losing to Floyd Money Mayweather, a boxer, or showing him at the old WWE New York back in 2002, something like that. Maybe it's something like it was. I don't remember the exact year of that, but WrestleMania, woo! Okay, then you had the 1 hour main event, which is the Big Show against Kane. Well, it wasn't much of a 1 hour main event. The match only went about 5-6 minutes. Cody Rhodes interfered, the forced a DQ on Kane. And then they were battling, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you see Mr. RKO himself, Randall Keith Orton, who hits the RKO out of nowhere, and then that's about the end of this segment. Because tied into two matches at WrestleMania, so it was good in that regard. But otherwise, it was pretty short and sweet. Somebody call my mama. Somebody call my mama. Somebody call my mama. Somebody call my mama. Really, guys. I'm all for seeing the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay in the ring, but he has no match at WrestleMania. And the fact that he's going against Mr. Wendy's himself and the one-man Southern Rock band Heath Slater, that doesn't really do much for me. Well, Brodus won with a squash, and why not? Because Heath Slater fucking sucks. Then there was a backstage segment. I'm just going to touch on this real quick, between Zack Ryder and the host herself, Eve Torres. Well, there's not really much to say about this. Eve's just stringing him along like a little puppy. But anyway, next. Then they had the recap on last Monday Night Raw with between Undertaker, Triple H, and HBK. The only thing it would have been nice. It would have been nice if it wasn't just a Raw exclusive thing. It would have been cool to see one of those guys from on SmackDown to promote the match a little more, but that's just my opinion. I think I've said this before. I think one or more of the people that were involved in this should have been there. I think they could have done more with this. I think, but that's just what I think. All right, next you had another Team Teddy versus Team Johnny match. This time it was the Great Khali along with Teddy Long versus one half of the Jackoffs, Dolph Ziggler, with Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, the Funk Man, Mr. Excitement, and my main man, Harvard Law graduate David Otunga. Look at my shirt, baby. Look, take a look, and I think I'll take a drink. But anyway, about the match itself, Ziggler won by submission due to Johnny Ace ringing the bell. But Teddy Long goes, no. We're gonna. That's not the way we do things around here, baby. If you don't get back in the ring before the count of 10, you're gonna be counted out, playa. But anyway, Khali does win the match by count out. But after the match, Santino Marella and Kofi Kingston run. They come up behind Dolph Ziggler and they throw him back in the ring, and Khali does the hi-ya, and down goes Dolph Ziggler. Match wasn't really much to speak of. But the only thing it did is that it tied into the Team Teddy versus Team Johnny match at WrestleMania. And then you have the main event: CM Punk and Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan along with AJ and The Miz. And if you watch this match, you're probably wondering to yourself, okay, CM Punk and Sheamus are both in matches at WrestleMania. Then you got Daniel Bryan, who is Sheamus' opponent at WrestleMania. Probably wondering what? Okay, Miz isn't in WrestleMania. Why is he in the match? Well, normally, when you have something like that, that means that the guy who doesn't have a match at WrestleMania, he's the only reason he's out there is to do the job, and that's what he did. For the second time in a week, he got the Brogue Kick from Sheamus, and that's how the show ended. One thing that Michael Cole did mention, that Miz and Bryan do have a rich history due to the fact that Miz was Daniel Bryan's coach on NXT on the first season, but anyway, that's how that show ended. Okay, final thoughts on the show. I thought the show tied into WrestleMania really nicely, as it should, considering we're only a week away from it. I mean, with the exception of the Bros Clay against Wendy match and AJ against one half of the Bella Sluts. I mean, those are two pretty random ass matches, but you can't really complain when you get the Funkasaurus on your television screen. But anyway, I think it's gonna be Team Johnny for the win, and I think on that note, I'm gonna take another drink. Team Johnny for the win.